Welcome to Gardenville.tv with myself, Catherine and Susan, and we're filming in a suburban garden here in the city, and it is just, this is the sort of garden we all aspire to have. I mean, the creativity, the design, just everything about it.
It's so neat and it's so beautifully kept that it's just amazing.
Just amazing. So we're going to move from one side of the garden around to the other part of the garden. So what?
Yeah, well, the first thing that struck me here is the amount of white in the garden. I gather one of this likes blue and white, which is predominantly the colour. And here we've got a shady spot where we've got the symphytum, which is great ground cover for shade, early spring flowering.
Early spring flowering.
Early spring flowering.
Is that a perennial or?
Yeah,
it
perennial,
is.
yes,
okay.
yes,
So when would
here.
you start to get some sort of action from it?
I'd say this has been flowering for 2 to 3 weeks probably now.
Okay,
It very much depends on what the weather's like.
So we're at the middle of April now, so it's
Yeah.
just handy to know under a tree this is an ideal.
Nice. Well, the soil here is beautiful. You can see yourself how crumbly and sort of full of
Absolutely.
nutrient and organic
It looks
matter
like a
the soil
rich
is.
soil.
Yeah, it's very well kept. And then
Okay.
there's lots of these white daffodils in the shade.
Which are beautiful.
And then the structure comes in here with these box spheres.
Okay. Why are they so nice under the tree?
Well, box will take shade, and they're just. This is to me, quite a formal garden in many ways, and this just adds that bit of formality. You could have a riot of sort of shade-tolerant perennials and things under here either, but this has just got these formal accents in places.
Right, so then from there we're moving on. I love the bird bath, just by the
Little
way.
bird bath under the tree.
Do you know what? This is all creating the personality of the garden, isn't it, Susan?
Yeah.
Adding things. You'll see other pieces further on.
And now we're coming to Helleborus orientalis varieties, which these are just going over now, but these very pale to start with. Here again, a shade-tolerant plant, likes a good rich soil, and it will also grow under deciduous shrubs. So it's flowering more or less. The leaves are only recently out on this tree, so this will have started flowering before the leaves were out.
Now at the back here, what do
At
we
the
have?
back we've got Solomon seal coming through there. You can just see
Oh,
that
yeah.
again is white. A spirea here which will also be white.
Right.
There's catmint, here's the blue coming in, and this little Lithodora with the blue
So
flower.
it's the blue and white
It's the
combination.
blue and white theme is carried.
It's dressing
through
the garden.
Yeah.
Now I love this. Just by the way, 2 birds just on the
Just
stone.
on the stone
Yeah.
and things, yeah.
Gorgeous. What's that behind that, Susan?
That's just an ordinary Griselinia. You see it a lot in hedges, in sort of suburban hedges and things.
Right, okay. There's a mixture though. It's funny
It's a
they've
backdrop here on the fence of the Photinia,
Yeah.
the Fraserii red robin, Griselinia. So it's just really to give a backdrop to the rest of the planting and to partially screen the fence.
But isn't it very nice that they've done a mixture of hedging at the back?
Yes, and they've kept, you see, there's a red leaf to this tree above us, and there's a red tinge to the Photinia behind it. So it sort of picks up the two foliage colours.
Again, something that I wouldn't have thought about in my garden, but doesn't it work? So again, we're moving on here.
So yeah, we're moving on here, and this looks to me like a variety of holly here behind us. Yep, that's what it looks like anyway. But it's not
Lovely
prickly,
rich
so it's
green.
Rich green, and there's several of these here giving a rich green backdrop.
Very lush again, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You can
very
feel
good.
it.
It's a good dark green though, it's a good foil.
And down here then, what have we got?
Down here, I'm not sure till these come out what we've got there.
Anybody who would know,
Actually,
contact us at Garden.
It's there at the back of my head, but it's not going to come out. Regersea are coming through here, which are very dramatic leaves to them,
Right.
and then a creamy coloured flower.
So it blends in with the colour
Blends
scheme
in with
again.
the colour scheme. And this lovely little Omphaloides here, which is great for edging, for shade, early spring flowering.
Okay.
And then we've some ferns again for the shade. Probably polystichum varieties that appearing. We're back to the symphytum again, the shade, and here's more of this little spring flowering, early flowering ground cover.
What's that, Susan?
That I suspect is similar to the Omphaloides there, a type
Right.
of Omphaloides. Then we've got hostas. There again,
Hostas are
very
popular.
good for shade. They're very popular. There are lots of different varieties. The slugs are very fond of them, so you
Okay.
have to deal with that.
Right.
This is a variegated one here. There's so
Very
many
pretty.
varieties. I couldn't possibly, I'm afraid, tell you
Absolutely very
exactly which
pretty,
variety.
isn't it?
But you also get lovely grey-green leaves from them, almost blue leaves from them, and you can get ones that will grow, really tall and really wide.
Wide.
There's
And they
huge
can go in a
range.
shady area.
They can go in a shady area. They like a moistish soil. They don't like to be dry. They'll be suffering with it.
So moving on, what have we got here?
Moving on, we have a little hebe here that will have a white flower on it, mostly grown for its foliage colour.
Okay.
In behind and here, two different varieties of pulmonaria, lungwort, also known as.
Lungwort.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
common. And there's a little ceanothus that's gone in.
Now we've got
Looks
somebody
almost like
who's
a little
dived
standard.
in upside down into the garden.
This was the gardener. This was the gardener who pulled up the prize plant, and that's what happened to them.
Lovely little white.
Little primula atomica, little snowball sort of headed primula here. There again, like a sort of nice, well kept soil. And so there, and then these little white muscaria.
Beautiful.
Normally you see those sort of mostly you
Purpley,
see in
bluey.
blue.
Yeah.
These little
I think
grey
the white are
hyacinths.
stunning.
The white are lovely. And then you've got a cornus behind here, the variegated Cornus controversa.
Okay.
And you know the trick with the cornus? I'm sure I've shown you this
No.
before. If you're not sure if it's a cornus or not, and you get a leaf and you just pull it apart, and if the bits still hang together with the sort of threads and the veins, it's a cornus.
Wow.
So
The
there you
tricks
are.
of the
I got
trade.
into trouble once grabbing a leaf off something in a public garden, and it wasn't a cornus, but I got into awful trouble. He said, somebody was behind me saying, "Don't do that." A viburnum, which again will be an opulous variety, which will have a big white head on it.
Again, more
of
the structure,
more of the
roses.
I suspect the hydrangeas here will probably be white as well.
To me, this is absolutely heavenly. It's just
It's very peaceful.
Gorgeous,
You can't
peaceful.
hear anything except the
Absolutely.
birds singing and us twittering away.
yeah. So if you've got anything you'd like to suggest about this, do come on our forum. Come and ask us questions. Join in with gardenville.tv. We have Facebook, we have blogging, and we'd love to hear from you.